Hey YouTube, this is Steve from Average Joe's Fantasy Football, and we've got your Week 17 Championship Fantasy Playoffs Quarterback Edition. We want to make sure you guys are prepared and ready for your championship this week. Obviously, if you guys have a championship in Week 18, we'll be updating videos as well, but this should be mostly everyone's championship week. It's on number 17. Now, these are your obvious quarterbacks you should be starting at Week 17. Here's the deal. A couple quarterbacks I want to mention. Fields and Hurts, both dealing with some pretty big injuries. There's a good shot those guys don't play just because, one, Chicago's not in the playoffs, so they may want to rest Fields at the moment just to kind of give him the ability to not get hurt and ruin his career. And Hurts right now, dealing with a shoulder injury, does have obviously things to play for. But just like anything else, you don't want to make it severe and then you can't play in the playoffs. So those are two quarterbacks I do want to mention just to be careful. There obviously is a Thursday night game, so be prepared for that. And there's one more Monday night game. So we do have some games spread out. Again, just keep an eye on it. Whether you follow us or whoever you get your sports news, just pay attention to Justin Fields and Jalen Hurts because, again, there may be a chance they don't play. But if they do play, I have them as some nice, obvious starts. Now, the first quarterback I want to mention as a good start this week is Mike White versus the Seahawks. Mike White got cleared. He's ready to start this week. That is the expectation. Jets desperately need him back at quarterback because if you saw that last game, which I'm sure a lot of people did, Wilson's not the answer at all. Why they didn't put Flacco in, I mean, at this point, they're just desperate at quarterback. But with Mike White being clear, this helps a lot. This is the perfect game for him to come back to against the Seahawks. Seahawks just gave up 26 points to Mahomes, 18 points the week before that to Brock Purdy. He's got a really good chance to get about 18 to 20 points in this matchup. Jets need this win, so does Seattle. So again, this is going to be a really good game to watch. This is all about playoff implications. So both Mike White and Geno Smith, obviously, it's going to be a big one. I didn't put Geno as an obvious start. I didn't even also put him in here as a sit or start because I'm not really sure to where to place him. He's been a phenomenal quarterback all season, almost MVP caliber, but he's been struggling lately. And losing Lockett also hurts, so I'm not sure about Geno. Now, another quarterback I do mention as a good start is Mac Jones versus the Dolphins. Now, the first game of the season against Miami, he only put up 14 points in fantasy. Not great. Not great at all. Last week, he did have, I would say, a pretty good game with obviously Jacoby Myers being back. That helps a lot. Dolphins have allowed 24.5 points to the quarterback the last 4 games, so which is going to be a big factor. Miami's defense has struggled a lot. This is a good chance for Mac Jones to really turn it around and have a good game. I'm not expecting a 25-point game out of Mac Jones. If he can get you 17 to 20 points, that's a pretty good mid to low QB1 or especially a super flex. He's a good play as well. I'd like him in that 17 to 20 point range. This is a game where both, again, New England and Dolphins have to win. They have to win this. And there's a big, obviously, I would say asterisk to this game is that there's a fact that Tua may not play. He's in concussion protocol. A lot of people are hoping that he does sit for the rest of the season because of all the concussions he has had. Obviously, to make sure he's healthy and has a longer career and health in life in general. But we'll see how that plays out. But I like Mike Jones as a nice little sneaky play. Danny Dimes, man, every time I talk about this guy, he has just either done phenomenal or he's just obviously a bust, right? He's definitely that boom or bust play. It's going against the Colts. Colts have been struggling against the pass. They did a pretty good job against Justin Herbert. They've got some turnovers. They got to him. Justin Herbert had one of his worst games. Unfortunately, I lost in one of my playoffs because of Justin Herbert, so I will give him credit. The Colts did a pretty good job at that. What I do like about this for Daniel Jones is the fact that he can run, right? That his running game is what helps add value to him. And again, Giants need to continue to win. They're allowing 24.84 points to quarterbacks as of late, minus that last game. So the Colts have struggled against quarterbacks. And right now, Daniel Jones put up 21 points last week, over 300 passing yards. I could see that 300-yard game. I don't know if he'll quite put up 22 points again. I think he put up 19 to 20. But I do see him having a better and more successful game than Justin Herbert. I know that's crazy to say because I think that's probably a hot take for most of you, but I'm not crazy about Justin Herbert as a quarterback. I think he's way too overhyped from at least the games I've seen. Danny Dimes is not better than him. I'm not saying that. But as far as the fantasy standpoint, I like this matchup for him. Now, the first quarterback I'm going to sit this week is going to be Derek Carr versus the 49ers. 49ers hold quarterbacks to 14.2 points a game and keeping them under 240 passing yards. Carr just had a horrible game and shouldn't be any different in this one at all. The 49ers create turnovers. They get to the quarterback. They're averaging almost an interception per game. This is going to be a really tough one for Derek Carr. I'm not starting him this week. Maybe in Superflex, but I'd be hesitant in that one. Now, another quarterback I'm looking at sitting is going to be Baker Mayfield versus the Chargers. Look, I have to mention Baker because he had such a good game last week. I know it's going to be asked. People are going to ask, oh, should I start Baker Mayfield this week? No. No, you shouldn't. Could he have another game? Possibly. But he doesn't have great receivers to throw to. His running game has done a really good job. Cam Akers looked really good. But Chargers actually do a really good job against the quarterback. They create turnovers. They get to the quarterback. They had a great game last night. Granted, Nick Foles is a statue. He doesn't move well, so that's why they were able to get all those sacks. Baker Mayfield has a lot more mobility. He's a little more athletic. He can move around the pocket. But even with that said, the Chargers have a really good defense when it comes to the pass. This is going to be a week where Baker probably gets you that 12 to 13 point range. That's kind of where I'm predicting him to be at. Chargers do a really good job. The last few weeks, they've been holding quarterbacks to 14 points. So, again, this is a really tough matchup. Derwin James obviously came back. Well, he did get ejected last night, but he did come back this week. So, again, that defense is just creating turnovers, getting to the quarterback. I don't see Baker doing any better than what he's done realistically all season, except for that one game. So I'm sitting him this week. Carson Wentz is another quarterback I'm sitting. He's expected to be the starter over Taylor Heineke. We'll see. Nothing's been officially announced yet, but he's going against the Cleveland Browns, who have done a really good job. Wentz has typically struggled. He's done a fairly decent job at the beginning of the season. He was getting into the 20 to 25 point range. Obviously got hurt. Heineke was starting to look really good. They were winning. Then he struggled. They put Wentz back in. And there's too much going on. Washington needs to win for them to get the playoffs. So they've got to figure out their quarterback situation. But at this point, Browns defense is not one you want to put one of those quarterbacks, whether it be Heineke or Wentz. Browns do a good job. They've only allowed 6.4 points in fantasy the last two games. And again, this is really Wentz's first full game back from his injury if he does play. So I don't know where he's going to be at as far as the actual full game. I think he put up 8 points in the game he just played for that little bit of half, but yeah, I'm looking to sitting him because I don't feel comfortable. Even if it's Heineke announced, I'm not putting Taylor Heineke in. Now, as far as a sleeper, I've got one quarterback and one quarterback only, Russell Wilson. I know I sound crazy because he just got benched, which I understand is respectful. I think at this point they should have benched him a long time ago in that game. But the reason why I have Russell Wilson is that he put up 30.1 points against Kansas City early this year. Kansas City's been allowing 25.4 points in fantasy the last 4 games. So if Russell Wilson does play, there's a new head coach at the helm. Nathaniel Hackett's been fired. We'll see how the offense changes. We'll see if Russell Wilson does anything. I like him as a nice little sleeper. I'm not saying starting him over some of these other quarterbacks I mentioned, but if you're desperate at quarterback, a lot of injuries, maybe you do super flex, I think he's going to have a pretty good game. I like this matchup. Chiefs defense just struggles. They just cannot stop anybody. I don't care who it is. They just don't have a good defense. Even with Russell Wilson playing the way he was, I like him this week as a nice sleeper. So those are my start sits and sleepers for the quarterback position for Week 17 championship round. If you guys do have questions of your lineup, please hit us up in the comments. It doesn't just have to be quarterbacks. It can be any position. Hit us up in the comments. That's what we're going to be here to help give you the best stats we can to give you some recommendations. If you guys haven't already, check out our waiver wire video. We put some players that you might want to add and grab for your team this week in case you're desperate. Like me, I'm in a tough quarterback situation. I've got Tua and Hurts. That's a tough one for me, but I'll have to figure that out. And if you guys have not already, make sure you hit the subscribe button and that notification bell is on. That way you guys are notified when we drop our other start sit videos like our running back, wide receiver, and tight end. If you guys did enjoy the content, make sure you hit the like button. It's greatly appreciated. You guys have been an amazing community. This season has been awesome. I'm super excited. Thank you guys so much for everything you guys have done for this channel. You guys have just been the best. Again, make sure you check out our start sits, check out our waivers, hit that subscribe and like, and I'll check you guys out next time.